Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Hard West with me, Bring It On. So on to On Earth as it is in Hell. Florence is taken from you far too soon, but you can still save her, if the devil is to be believed. Destroying Purgatory will require a truly legendary posse though. In the meantime, your father's become a formidable warrior, pursuing his own agenda. 0%, my power went out when I started recording this, so hopefully everything's okay. I can restart this without issue. Combat injuries on and hard mode.
All wasn't lost yet. If Purgatory could be destroyed, Florence would be set free. There was just one catch. Only the dead can enter Purgatory. So, to fulfill his plan and upset the order of nature, he needed you, half living, half dead, to do his dirty work. You'd only get one shot at this. To make sure you didn't fail, you set out to find a cadre of legendary gunmen to put together the ultimate posse. Meanwhile, the Undertaker, still searching for some measure of redemption, struck a blow against the evil forces massing against humankind. The enemies that remained came together to end him once and for all. Chased, wounded, and trapped in an abandoned fort, he awaited their final offensive.
Like Cole decided the time for attack was nigh. Your father readied his weapons.
The battlefield echoed with rallying cries of your father's enemies.
Alright, so you want to come down here and get into full cover. You start off with three pretty powerful abilities. We have dodge, equalization, and chain kill. Can't do that this turn. You want to be behind full cover like this where the enemies can't see you, because when you use equalization, it knocks everybody down to 1 health, but it also takes up both your action points. You can't heal after you use it. And since it burns through your luck, you have an increased chance of being hit. And if you're hit with 1 health, well, you know, you're dead, so. They only cost 50 luck though. I thought it was like 75. Back up to full health, then we'll run back up here and take cover. I had line of sight on this guy. Be a good time to use chain kill, but we don't, so I'm not going to waste it this turn. Yeah, screw it. Good chain kill here. Why not? 80%, 77. I'll take the 80. $54 and $53. I think the rest of them are beneath me. Don't have enough for dodge. I have a plan. I'm gonna park right here to have some sort of cover. If I run outside, they'll just run outside and flank shoot me anyway. There's 4 beneath me. 5. I was able to take him out without giving up my position. I think these guys are still standing over here. Alright, 1 cultist left, and that counts as the demon, right? He's not a cultist. Oh! That'll show him. I want to take out the guy that's below. Alright, reactivate dodge. I'm gonna run down here and finish this guy off. The demon should chase me. Well, we have to go out here and destroy these things, I think, anyway. All these blood vials. I think I can chain kill them. I'm gonna try. Nope, doesn't work with those. Shoot. I'll hide in this corner for now until he shows up. Hopefully I survive when he does show up. There he is. What's up, buddy? Not a fan of that. Thank you. Definitely need dodge, and we'll fan at him and see what happens.
Later on, your father
thank goodness.
questioned a survivor to suss out your location. He revealed where you were headed. Your father, the Undertaker, would confront you there.
That's cutting it very close there. It was time to bring Florence back, which meant you needed a posse hard enough to invade Purgatory.
The first member of your posse would be Jefferson Burns. As a decorated war hero and Indian fighter, you would likely find him in the nearby military encampment. Of course, you were still a wanted outlaw from your brush with the Masked Man.
Alright, what do we got? Just the Jack of Diamonds. Oh, that'll be enough anyway. To the Fate Trader. You came across a puny dwarf with a battered cart. He flashed his toothless smile at you, encouraging you to take a look at his unique wares. Look at Matthew's tomb first. You arrived at a burial place. It was reputed to belong to one of the 4 evangelists, a gang of 4 brothers named Mark, Matt, Luke, and John. A tall red-clad figure sat on the tomb. He presented himself as Grand Inquisitor Cervantes. He told you that each of the brothers' tombs contained an inscription that told part of their story. If somebody read the story in correct order, it would reveal the location of the gang's stash. Yeah, you asked Cervantes his business here. He said he had been sent by a mutual acquaintance to help with your perilous endeavor. Cervantes claimed to be good with a gun and have a way with words. His services were at your disposal if you wanted them. You had to make your choice now. He accepted him on the team. You're looking at Matthew's tomb. You read the inscription. Mark was the eldest, and the others had always followed his orders. But John harbored a secret bitterness. When they finally tracked down the masked doctors responsible for the atrocities, he disobeyed his eldest command to provide cover. Without his brother's protection, Matthew was riddled by bullets. They buried him here. That's one tomb. Let's do the rest of these. The only mark of burial on this pile of red sandstone was the heavy inscription plate. Read the inscription. The brothers fell into disarray. Mark blamed John. John blamed Mark. And Luke, who had always brokered their peace. I was powerless to reconcile them. Tempers escalated until John drew on Mark. Another brother fell. This time by the hand of his own kin. It was the end of the evangelists. Mark's tomb has almost succumbed to the elements. The inscription was still in good condition. The hearse was not carrying the worldly remnants of the departed to distant soil. Instead, it contained living human parts, kept alive in jars by electricity and eldritch bombs. Mark was resolute. Whoever did this must pay. John and Matt disagreed. For the first time, the brothers were divided. Luke's tomb is adorned with a Odysseus? The symbol of medicine. John drifted alone, rootless and without purpose. Finally, tired of being outgunned and outnumbered, he decided he could not continue. He was on preparing to take his own miserable life when Luke returned, then on reconciliation. They had found some leads in the masked doctors, and the time to strike was now. Alright, so we gotta figure out what order is the right order. Don't remember. We'll do this first. Approaching the army camp. The camp was nearly deserted. Only a couple of sentries remained. Burns was nowhere to be seen. As an outlaw, approaching openly would guarantee a hostile response. You could take the men out one by one, but it would likely yield less information about where Burns was. You snuck into the camp to eavesdrop on the men's conversations. Thinking past the guards was simple. You saw a sergeant talking with one of his subordinates, and managed to eavesdrop on their conversation. It seemed Burns was leading an attack on a nearby Indian village. Though vulnerable, you continued listening, hoping to gain more insights. Apparently, Commander Burns was a decorated war hero with a reputation for risky methods. His most notorious achievement had been to infect himself with smallpox, and intentionally be captured by the natives, infecting them in turn. The resulting plague decimated their population, allowing the army to wipe out the survivors without sustaining a single casualty. Burns had survived, his facial scarring a testament to his bloody-mindedness. You thought about ways to use this information to your advantage. Armed with this knowledge, you were about to retreat from the camp. You walked straight into a sentryman, and you emerged from the resulting gunfight wounded, but victorious. You limped away from the camp, taking some supplies with you. Alright, let's see if we can figure this out. Alright, Mark was the eldest. John harbored a secret bitterness. Back to the mass doctors and atrocities. Alright, so I think the first one has to be the one where they're divided, right? That's all the way over here. Alright, so the beginning of the story was what? I now have to guess because I thought I could look at all of them and then determine. I guess not. I think the one we're at now, Mark's, is the first one. That's the one where they discovered the stuff about the doctors, right? So Mark's story. The second part of the story was what? I'm just gonna click through these and... Yeah, so for the first time, the brothers were divided. So I think that's the first part. Yeah, I don't think this is the first one. I think... I want to say the second one is probably the one down here. Where they weren't covered. In the firefight, somebody didn't cover the other one. And it mentions, I think, all four brothers' names in that description as well, so they're still all alive at that point. What's John say? Alright, so I think this is where they come into a disagreement because one of the brothers was killed. So, okay, I think I figured it out. So it's what, Mark's, Matthew's, John's, and Luke's? Or is it Luke then John? Alright, so I think it's Mark, Matthew, John, then Luke. The letters formed words, and the words formed sentences. It's about the location of the four evangelists' secret stash. There we go, that's easy. A bland unmarked grave matched the directions decrypted from the evangelist's tomb inscriptions. Your long digging effort was rewarded with findings of substantial material value. One-armed bandit unlocked at Fate Traders. What's he have? 9 of spades. Plus 1 HP. There's some extra movement. And defense. And then we'll get luck and aim. Also, we did get a musket. I'm going to take that instead of the shotgun. It lets me. Bulletproof vest, medical bag, I guess the stun bomb. Healing elixir and dried meat. Does 8 damage. Yeah, let's take that instead. Alright, to the massacre site. Plume of smoke visible from miles away guided you to the site of the pacification. The village was in ruins, littered with body parts. The army had not even spared the women and children. You noticed a lone limp figure lying on a rock. You approached it. It was Jefferson Burns. Cervantes spat on the remains, saying the coward must have taken his own life out of grief over the massacre. He picked up the gun lying by the body, and motioned for the Inquisitor to leave. You already had your first companion anyway.
The next candidates were Randy Harden, a notorious gunfighter, and Henry Persons, a former Pinkerton agent. The local crime lord would know where to find them.
Alright, on to the wizard. Your party came upon a circus tent set up, incongruously in the middle of the Badlands. As you neared, you saw it surrounded by armed men wearing clown makeup. A sign read, "The Dazzling House of Peculiar and Strange." Your previous travels told you this was the Algredo Mystics Gang. Their leader, Wizard Algredo, had a reputation for making things and people disappear without a trace. The house offered all sorts of cheap entertainment. You stopped a while to watch the show. The show advertised Grunks, wild beast of uncanny strength. While Grunks was very hairy, he was definitely human. His act consisted of lifting increasingly heavy objects. After every feat, the audience demanded more, and Grunks obliged. Until, lifting the heaviest object on stage, a loud crack resounded across the tent. Mighty Grunks fell to the ground and was carried away by other strongmen. Watch another show. You watch a quartet of trapeze artists known as the Biscoito Brothers, high up near the ceiling of the tent. Victor, Paulo, Alex, and Raphael performed amazing feats of human agility. You knew a fall from that height would kill anyone, but the show ended safely with a shocking salto mortale that garnered a standing ovation from the crowd. Now watch another one. Ixnay Josh and Jamie Harris were a knife-throwing act. The woman bore numerous scars, and Ixnay Josh was missing a couple of fingers. Still, his aim was unerring, despite his obvious affinity for strong liquor. Now watch another show. A Fogrum the Technomage was a gentleman in a top hat presenting his perpetual motion device. In it, a ball traveled endlessly through a looping maze of funnels, drains, wheels, and cogs, apparently propelled by the power it generated. Technomage offered to sell it to anyone willing to pay his astronomical fee. You didn't feel compelled to jump at this generous offer. A gypsy fortune teller was reading palms for the patrons. According to her sign, she was Daciana Vaduva, Mystic Seer. As you approached, she became fixated on you, her horrified mouth agape. Finally she screamed, "How Hellion! I never laid a hand on those puppies," and slammed her kiosk shut and ran away. Phoenix Jerikith was a fire dancer who leapt through blazing loops, hopped over burning poles, and blew giant plumes of fire from her mouth. You crowned her act by taking a cigar from one of the gawking spectators with her foot, then lighting it with a fiery plume and returning it to the patron's mouth. As she bowed, people showered her with dimes. For a moment, these displays of human talent provided welcome distraction. For a moment at least, you felt relaxed and inspired. You left the tent and its weirdness behind. On your way out, a queer fellow tapped you on the shoulder. He said something about recognizing a fellow connoisseur, a bit hard into your flesh. You pushed him away, and he quickly retreated, tipping his hat. For the rest of the day, you had a strange aftertaste in your mouth. Nine clubs plus 1 HP. We'll give that to Cervantes when we get the chance. Oh, you returned to the wizard's house. The place looked creepy as ever. You asked to see the wizard. A tall gaunt man introduced himself as Sean Vermillion. He said the wizard is waiting for you and offered you a complimentary drink. A single shot glass filled with cold yellowish liquid sat on a tray. Vermillion looked at you expectantly. After a moment's hesitation, you downed the glass. Vermillion led you through dark corridors lined with colorful circus posters. Finally, you passed through a flat door and into a complete darkness. Vermillion was nowhere to be seen. You were trying to make out what might be in the dark room when, with a heavy thunk of machinery, a single spotlight appeared. A tall figure stood in it, wearing some sort of cloak. You wanted to walk toward the figure, but your legs didn't react. You just stood there watching. A sudden flash of light blinded you, shock making you fall to the ground. When you opened your eyes, the room was brightly lit by floating orbs of cold blue light. A short bald man wearing a long robe and strange eyeglasses stood above you. John Vermillion stood behind him. The small man presented himself as Wizard Algredo, claimed he had business with you. He told you to nod your head if you wanted a lengthy explanation, or shake it if you wanted him to cut to the chase. You nodded, doing your darndest to stare him to death. The wizard smiled and commended you on your choice to accept the drink. It meant he didn't have to resort to violence to make you listen to him. He said he knew who you were, and who you were looking for, and that you should give up now. The wizard considered Hardin his property, and said the man was currently detained where he belonged. Persons, though, was a different matter. Henry Hard Persons used to work in the Pinkerton Special Division, where several years of his service were blank. The wizard assured you Persons was quite insane, but he found the man fascinating, especially his obsessive search for pieces of a specific meteorite. Apparently, no law of property or human decency could stop him in his quest to acquire these pieces. He was the ultimate collector. Therefore, the wizard continued, you wanted to make contact with Persons, you needed to find pieces of the meteorite. And you were in luck. When the meteor traveled through the Earth's skies, it left a trail of debris in this very area. All you had to do was obtain some of these pieces, whatever way you deemed acceptable. 4 pieces would be enough to attract the strange man's attention, and make him emerge from hiding, the wizard said. These words, the wizard nodded to his men to take you away. Alright, to the Quack Wagon. A lonely, dilapidated wagon was parked beside a popular resting ground. Dr. Mason von Warner's wagon smelled very strongly of liquor. No, it must have been antiseptic. The doctor looked at you absent-mindedly through his greasy glasses. He may have been drunk and high on opium. He was the only medic in the area. He required healing supplies. Dr. Mason von Warner stared at you questioningly, as though he was seeing you for the first time in his life. He came for healing. The doctor assured you he was an expert on human anatomy. He performed the most amputations during the Battle of Sabine Pass, if you counted fatalities. His expertise wasn't cheap, but he was confident he could help you, especially if it involved amputations. Yeah, I need some patching up. Legal mines. Let's see. Orchid House. Let's go there next. This inconspicuous ranch, away from the main road, housed a black market, which dealt with contraband of all kinds. I wanted to barter. Engaged quadruple shotgun. Aim 15. I'll take that, thank you. And your money. Alright, you asked if they knew anything about a meteor piece. When you made your unusual demand, Juha Ackerman, the merchant, looked agitated. He considered the rock a lucky charm and was unwilling to give it up. If he did, he'd charge you more for the rest of his goods to make up for his loss. You agreed to Ackerman's arrangement. Juha Ackerman handed you the meteor and reminded you that he'd mark up his prices from this point forward. The piece of meteor in your hand heated up, melted, and sank into your skin. You felt empowered, but if you wanted to collect these pieces to drive Persons out of hiding, you had to avoid burning them up. I didn't want to burn that up. Plus 20 sight. Alright, I guess we'll go to the illegal mine next. came across a prospecting site where a group of slaves toiled in narrow, coffin-sized holes in the ground, hauling silver from beneath the earth. It was doubtful these mines were sanctioned by the authorities. Rumor had it Mr. Breck, one of the proprietors, had a collection of precious stones. A piece of the meteor was his most prized piece. You offer the prospectors $50 for the meteor. The collection owner was reluctant to part with it, but nervous if he had refused you, you'd take it by force. He offered you $100 to let him keep the stone. You threatened them with violence if they did not comply. Your threats fell on deaf ears. You had to kill them. They put up a fight and wounded one of your companions. But in the end, you retrieved the stone. Now you collected another piece of the meteor. Burning it up would give you extra power, but keeping them would help you recruit another companion. They decided to keep it. Alright, on to the Vaquero. This had once been a thriving town. Now it was reduced to a single bar, the Vaquero, run by the former mayor, Marshal Todd Mabby, or Maybe. It seemed liquor and tobacco were the only things that sold on this forsaken road. You entered the bar's large courtyard. You went into the bar. The bar is populated by a seedy mix of farmers, cowboys, and lowlifes. In addition to drinks, the Vaquero also offered trade. Browse the shop. I would like to have the ocular. So we'll get rid of this and grab that. I do like my aim. Piercing ammo is also pretty good. Alright, you reviewed the tab list. Following barflies owed money to the bar. These couldn't be real names, could they? You so amazing. Zim Jack James. Spin Dr. Morio. Sup Eric Cop. Or Erticop. Richie Ojanowski. Adam Viper Pliskin. Cthulhu Hedron. Eric Doidle. Satish Sharma. Alright, I'm gonna call the episode here. In the next one, we will explore the brothel, the church, Rojas Tannery, and Cougar Trails. We also have a necropolis over here. Actually, we'll do that one first. I almost missed it. I think that's it for now. Alright, that's gonna do it for here. Hold on. We need 3 more. Either way, I'm going to call it here. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next one.